Welcome to the Beautiful Me Club, where you can have yourself a ball, where you can find a lot of love. If you're stable, not so stable, whatever you have on your table, we're able to fix it, mend it, talk it out, cry it out and shout. Leave your worries me, girl, I'm trying to make it. I guess I am alright. Leave your money tight, my man ain't right out in the wind tonight. We came here to party, to smile, to get your me on for a while, to get your groove back, honey child. So get your cute on, let's get wild. And beautiful me baby, that's what I call myself. I leave my attitude on the shelf. It's about me and no one else but beautiful you baby. I'm talking dollars and not cents. It's not arrogance but confidence. So pick your head up and come on in. There's no drama, I'm saying, and no haters up in this spot. You treat it like the queen that you are. Here you walk the red carpet like a superstar. And beautiful you baby, and beautiful me too. I tell you what we're gonna do. We're gonna party like tonight is through. Beautiful you, and beautiful me too. Beautiful you, and beautiful me too. Beautiful you, yeah, and beautiful me too. Beautiful you, beautiful you. Be excited, you're invited to take a part in our new spot. Here you're not judged by what you got. Everything and everybody here is hot, cause the Beautiful Me Club, baby, it is a party of the mind. Here your self-esteem is sure to climb, so put your troubles down and let's unwind. Beautiful you, and beautiful me too. Beautiful you, and beautiful me too. Beautiful you, yeah, and beautiful me too. Beautiful you.
Hello. Hi, my name is Yvette, and welcome to the Somerville Line. Tonight we have some special guests with us this evening to talk about a program that is very near and dear to a great many of us. So I would now like to have each of our guests introduce themselves. Thank you.
Hello, my name is Joe LaRusso. I'm the Ted Williams Camp Alumni Coordinator for the Ted Williams Camp. We're running in coinciding with the Jimmy Fund, and we're running this event to benefit the Jimmy Fund, the Dana-Farber Cancer Institute.
Hi, my name is Nadia Carlaville. I am the lead planner of Fabuloso Weddings and Events, and I am helping Joe LaRusso and Dick Trust here to coordinate the Jimmy Fund event at the Ted Williams Camp.
Hi, I am the author of the, if I can reach this book, it's Ted Williams and Friends. My name is Dick Trust, and I wrote this book about Ted, and he goes way back with the Jimmy Fund as well. He was one of the founding fathers, way back in the early 50s. So all of this we can thank Ted for all of his contributions. Yeah, I was going to say that he died in
2000.
Yeah, July 5th, 2002. Right. So he was associated with the Jimmy Fund for over 50 years. Mm-hmm. Yeah, long time. Yeah.
And he became associated with the Jimmy Fund because he was a cancer victim himself, correct?
Well, he had heart trouble, but he was always very close to kids. He loved kids, and he was very kind to kids. Right. And it actually started with the Boston Braves back in 19 1948 with the very first Jimmy Fund. At that time it was called a radiothon, and it was a national broadcast with the Boston Braves. And after the Braves left in 1952, they left Boston for Milwaukee. The Red Sox picked up the gauntlet, so to speak, on Ted Williams' behalf. He was pretty much the spokesman for the Jimmy Fund after that, along with the Red Sox owner Tom Yawkey. And the Jimmy Fund started back in 1948. It was named for a kid who did not want his name known. His name was Einar Gustafsson, and he was actually a great Boston Braves fan. And he was not known. He was known only as Jimmy. He didn't want his name known because of cancer. And it was 1999 when 1999 at the All-Star game when Einar Gustafsson finally met Ted Williams as Jimmy. He was the original Jimmy.
Oh my goodness.
A long time.
So is this one of the pictures that you shared with me earlier? Let's see if we can share that with our audience.
Okay, the original Jimmy.
A little bit.
Yes.
Yep.
That's Einar Gustafsson on the right, and of course Ted on the left. That's the first time they met.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right there?
Which photo are we on?
So we're over here to the right.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, that's Einar Gustafsson and Ted. Ted was ailing at that time, 1999. So that was 51 years after the original radio broadcast. And that broadcast was one of the first ones to go national.
And he met him at the All-Star game and was at Fenway Park
Yeah,
in
yeah.
Boston.
So I just got chills. So that in this picture, and this is from which year? That's the first time they met.
1999.
1999.
51 years
lot,
after
yeah.
Einar Gustafsson was known as Jimmy, because at that time he didn't want anyone to actually know that he was the original cancer patient. So he moved to Maine, and he just lived his life anonymously, and no one knew that he was the original Jimmy until he resurfaced 51 years later.
Wow.
And he met Ted for the first time back then. And
Oh my goodness.
yeah, that
So
was-
I'm doing some movement up here. So just to keep everything going, everybody
Sure.
feel comfortable. I'm doing a lot of work here,
Right.
but don't let that even bother you.
Okay.
Don't try to follow it. And this is the beautiful thing about being on live TV, right? But this is, before we go further, I may have misspoke earlier, and I said that Ted Williams had cancer. He never had cancer, right?
No.
He just loved the children,
Right.
and that's why he was involved.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay, so I just wanted to clear that up.
I was involved with the camp, and I attended the camp in 1975, and it closed in 1986. Williams started the camp after he retired, or just before he retired, in 1959, and it closed in 86. So I was there for 11 summers as a camper, a counselor, and then I became a coach on the coaching staff for 5 years. And I coached the kids.
Wow. So why I want to think about, what he did then and compare that to, is there something like that still in existence for these young kids?
Well, at the camp currently now, in 1986, the owners, one was Ted Williams, another guy named Bernie Cassidy, Les Warburton, and Ted himself owned the camp, and Al Cassidy. There were 4 owners, and they sold it in '86 to the town of Lakeville. And the town of Lakeville, yes, they have picked up programs, but not just baseball. Back then it was just baseball. Now they run all their recreational programs at the site. They run lacrosse, soccer, basketball, baseball, all those sports for the town.
Oh, so are the individuals that live in the town the only ones that can participate, or do people come from all over?
I believe they have other games and outside competition with other local towns will come in and they'll play. You know, the kids from Lakeville.
Nice.
Yeah.
Such a special thing. Such a special thing. And then before we get back to the book, please tell us about your involvement and how you got involved with working with this program, with the camp and the Jimmy Fund, and what does it mean to you?
Oh, well, the Jimmy Fund, of course, is very important to all of us. I mean, I think everyone we know, at least somebody who's either a cancer survivor or is living with cancer. And I mean, my own mom was diagnosed with breast cancer a while back. Thankfully, she survived it. And but you know, just cancer is it's everywhere. And I mean, 1 in 2 men and 1 in 3 women. Staggering fact. So you know, it's a horrible disease, and we hope to cure it one day, hopefully. But I wasn't the first planner that Joe picked, but thankfully the planner that he did, she knew me and she recommended me, and I was so grateful because I had never done a fundraiser before and never planned a fundraiser. And what better fundraiser than for the Jimmy Fund, you know. So basically we've been talking for almost a year and trying to plan this whole event. And there's been a lot of learning curves and fundraisers, not just like any wedding or other special events that I'm used to, but very rewarding. Met a lot of people, a lot of very generous people, you know, and it will all be worth it in the end, you know. And we just try to do our best, and you know, for something near and dear to many.
Nadia's done a wonderful job. I want to say that because she really has. She's taken the bull by the horns, basically, and she's gotten a lot of sponsors for us this year, and also a lot of items. We've doubled the items from 2 years ago.
Do we want to talk
we'll be
about?
talking about those.
Okay.
Talk about.
Now, do we want to first talk about the players?
Yeah,
Yes.
sure. So let's talk a little bit about the event, I guess. So it's July 21st, Saturday.
There we go.
There's our flyer. Yep. From 11 to 4 at the Loon Pond Lodge at Ted Williams Camp.
There's the flyer.
Yeah.
Okay.
So Loon Pond Lodge is where they host events, special events, and also weddings. Beautiful view of the lake. But we will be hosting it there. There'll be a luncheon included in the admission, which is a donation to the Jimmy Fund, basically. And there'll be many auction items. All proceeds go directly to the Jimmy Fund. We'll have a lot of, we'll have a photo booth also there, and we'll have some former Red Sox and other Major League Baseball players in attendance. Dick will be signing his book as well.
So is this
some of the
a
players.
list of the players? Who are the players? Are they former Boston Red Sox?
Yes.
These are
Players.
just some that we've confirmed now, but we could still possibly get more.
Yeah.
So go ahead, Dick.
Okay,
you know the
yes,
players.
Joe Morgan, former Major League player, and known as the manager during 1988 when it was Morgan Magic. Red Sox won more than 20 straight games that year at home. So he will be there. Ted Lipsio played 7 or 8 years with Ted Williams during the 1950s. He was a second baseman and a shortstop. Jim Lonborg was a pitcher, a longtime pitcher with the Red Sox, known for his Cy Young Award-winning season of 1967, The Impossible Dream. That was the Impossible Dream year. And after his career, he became a dentist, and he just retired. He just retired about 2 years ago as a actual working dentist. And he long time association with the Jimmy Fund. He does a lot of events. John Graham was a Red Sox draft pick. Jeff Plimpton was a Red Sox pitcher. he had a brief career with the Red Sox, but still memorable. Jeff Juden, he played 9 years during the 1990s. Played for 8 different teams, so he got a pretty good taste. He was drafted by Houston and played with the Yankees, played with the Montreal Expos, among others, and they will all be there, and they'll be signing autographs and posing for pictures, and just helping the Jimmy Fund.
Just helping the Jimmy Fund.
Yeah.
How long have you guys been involved with the Jimmy Fund?
Well, I've been running the events for 7 years, 8 years now. I started it back in 1993, and then I put it off up until just 2008. So that was about 10 years later, 9 or 10 years later, I started again. And I decided I wanted to run it every 2 years. And from 2008 up to present time to 2018, we've ran 5, 6 more.
Okay.
And it's been very, it gets better and better each time.
That's smart, doing that every 2 years.
Right.
It would be overwhelming to
Right.
do that once a year.
Yeah.
Right.
Okay, okay. Now, let's take that down. Sorry, guys. So, as you're putting this together, Nadia, what type of involvement does it take from your side? And do you get an opportunity to speak with people from the Jimmy Fund, parents, participants, and what kind of information do they share with you that lets you know that you're doing the right thing?
Definitely the Jimmy Fund has been a huge help in providing us with information and supplies and everything for the event. They want to see us succeed, they want us to help us, raise as much money as we can, of course, all in it for the same thing. I've met so many generous donors and sponsors, and they just all want the same thing, it's a great cause. But they've all been, they've all been affected by this. I know some close friends that have been affected. Very young family members who have passed, and they're helping us along the way. I think it's just the generosity of the people really drives us to do better and more. I don't know. Yeah. I mean, it's tough.
It affects us all. I mean, my stepfather passed away in 1995, December 1995, from cancer. And it's just the one thing is, it's like as parents are older, sometimes they don't share that information with us, and so you kind of find out about it like at the very end, right? And it's just this thing that you just don't understand why we are not able to find some type of cure for it, some type of cure. Are you all involved in hearing about advancement and research for cancer?
Yes. I'm involved with the Jimmy Fund in that I get their publications in the mail, so I see all the material and all the great things that they're doing, for people to try to advance help people out, and it's been wonderful. And all those dollars that are raised by not just us, but a lot of other people, it goes to a good cause. I mean, I've had family and friends that have come and gone, here too, and that's why I do it. I'm involved with this, along with Ted Williams, because when he came down to the camp, I remember the good times, when he used to spend with us, on the field, and he'd give us instruction and everything. He was so, I want to say heartwarming, to you as a person, the greatest hitter in baseball that ever lived, and, coming over to talk with you, and sharing, his experiences. Because I was young back then. He was old then. He shared all those things with you. You know.
Those lessons that we know that it meant something to you because
Right.
here you are carrying on with this
Right.
in his name. I mean, you could have put it in your name,
Right.
Right.
right?
Exactly.
But no,
No.
you know. And so, Ted Williams,
Yeah.
talk to us about Mr. Williams.
Well, I
Should we go to your book? Is that where you want us to go next?
Sure, if you,
Okay.
you'd like. Sure. The book actually covers the time period from 1960, at the time of his last at bat in the major leagues, and of course in great Ted Williams' dramatic form, he hit a home run in his last at bat, and for a long time he would not tip his cap because the fans got on him, surprisingly so. Back in his early days, 1940, 41, they would actually boo him for a bad play in the outfield. And even though he was a great hitter, once in a while he would make an error. Everyone's human, and but the fans would get on him because he was supposed to be perfect. And he vowed at one time, "I will not tip my cap to these fans." And it wasn't until long ago. Long after that he finally tipped his cap in 1991 when he appeared at Fenway Park for a ceremony naming part of Lansdowne Street behind the left field wall. They named it Ted Williams Way. But after his last at-bat, when as he rounded the bases and went into the dugout, the fans were calling for him. They wanted him to come out and wave his cap to the crowd. Even the first base umpire urged him to come out. "Ted, come out, wave your cap," and he just wouldn't do it. So he had one more opportunity. The home run was in the bottom of the 8th inning, and in the top of the 9th. When Baltimore finally had their last at bat, the Red Sox manager sent Ted out to left field for one more opportunity to wave his cap to the fans and thank them for a long career from 1939 to 1960, and he just wouldn't do it, and so they replaced him in the outfield with a Carol Hardy was sent out to left field to replace Ted, and so Ted goes running in, and he still refused to acknowledge the fans, and he just disappeared into the dugout and went right to the clubhouse. That was the last we saw of him as an active player, until the old-timers games started in the 80s. But before that, Ted was, of course, a first ballot Hall of Famer in 1966.
This one?
Yeah, yes, exactly. He and Casey Stengel were both inducted on the same day, and Ted was talking first, and he said, "Well, I better finish my speech because Casey's going to take over," and Casey was a real talker. It was sort of hard to understand Casey. He spoke in a real old-time baseball language, but as far as Ted went, I don't see. We don't have a picture of Satchel Paige. Was do we have that? No.
No.
But during Ted's speech, he called for the induction in the Hall of Fame of the first black players to be inducted, and there was a great series of players in the old Negro leagues,
Yes.
and he called for the induction. He said that there's no reason why they should not be in the Hall of Fame, and 5 years later, Satchel Paige was the first player to be inducted, and every year after that, there was at least one or two black players, obviously recognized, like Jackie Robinson eventually, and you would have to say that Ted was a real champion of civil rights in baseball, and the first black player to play for the Red Sox was Pumpsie Green, 1959, long after Jackie Robinson broke the color barrier in baseball. And when Pumpsie joined the Red Sox, the first player to come over to him was Ted. He was called up during the 1959 season. He said, "Pumpsie, let's play catch," and then they just started. And the Red Sox were the last team to integrate, and so Ted was a great champion of all colors. It didn't matter, and his long time logo or mantra was, as a kid, he would say, I want to walk down the street and have people say, there goes there goes the greatest hitter who ever lived. And I think he is, and was, yeah. And he missed 5 years to
The military?
the military, yeah. And World War II and in Korea. So he missed 5 years of some prime time, yeah.
Let me ask a question. Did he have to go to the military? I mean, it seems like he probably didn't have to go if he didn't want to go, but he made that conscious decision that he wanted to go?
Yeah, he was, well, at first there was a situation where he was the sole provider for his mother, because his father was not around.
Okay.
And he, in 1942, when he was drafted, he did request that he had to take care of his mother, but he eventually went and proudly served from 1943, 44, and 45. He served 3 years, and he learned to be a pilot. So back in 1952, he was drafted in the Marine Corps and was a pilot. Shot down, landed a plane on its belly, and they had to spray the airport, with the foam, so that if the plane caught on fire, it would be protected. And they didn't know it was Ted.
Oh, they didn't even
Not
know it was
everybody
him.
knew. And he flew with his wingman. He had a wingman named John Glenn, who eventually became the first man to go into orbit.
Right.
Yeah.
Oh, really?
Yeah, that was one of his mates, and during the war, the two of them were together. In fact, when John Glenn went up for the second time back in the late '90s, Ted went to Cape Canaveral to watch him go.
Wow.
Yeah, he was there for that. Yeah.
Let me ask a question that maybe you don't know, but this goes outside of this. This goes up about the building that man, Ted Williams.
Yeah.
And so you said his father wasn't around. Do you know any of the history about his upbringing, like his neighborhood?
Yeah, he grew up in
San Diego.
San Diego.
Right.
San Diego, and his mother was Mexican American, and she was very attached to the Salvation Army. And every day and every night she'd be out banging the drums and raising money for the Salvation Army. And Ted was left to his own device. He and his younger brother would wait up sometimes till 9, 10 o'clock at night sitting on the porch waiting for his mother to come home. But all that time when she was away, he spent the early part of his day. He would get up early in the morning and go right to the baseball park and start hitting a baseball until his hands got raw and rough and were bleeding practically. He knew the guy who opened up the stadium at 6 o'clock, 7 o'clock in the morning before school. And he would go out there every day and just hit. That's all he did. That's all he wanted to do. and meanwhile, his mother was off on Salvation Army activities, and all Ted wanted to do was play baseball. That's all he wanted to do.
How did that come? I mean, was that, and I ask that because, you know, you have young kids now that don't know what direction they want to go. They're lost. But what was it that...
He was just driven. He just wanted to play. It was just something inside him. If he wasn't playing baseball, he would go fishing with one of his neighbors. The father of one of his friends would take him fishing. So he'd go fishing early in the morning on the weekends. And he became a great fisherman. In fact, Ted was also inducted into one of the fishermen's halls of fame as well. But he was just driven, and I think he was probably the greatest hitter, even though his batting average was not as high as Ty Cobb, who had the highest average at 367. But Ted was 344, and at the time he retired, 1960, he was the third leading home run hitter of all time, 521. But he missed 5 years, and I think if he had not missed those five years, he would have topped Babe Ruth's record, who was first. Babe Ruth was first. Jimmy Fox was second at 534, and then Ted came at 521. He certainly would have beaten Jimmy Fox. I think if he was close enough to Babe Ruth at the time he retired, he might have played another year or two to try to top Babe Ruth.
Probably.
And probably would have done it. So, and there's one stat that may never be broken that he holds. It's the highest on-base percentage, 482, which means that for every 10 times up, he was on base 48.2% of the time, either with a home run, other base hits, or walking. He used to walk. He would average over 100 walks a year. Because they just didn't want to pitch to him.
Oh, right.
So many times he was walked intentionally. I saw a lot of those games when I was a kid. I first met him when I was 12, and I was a young autograph collector growing up in Boston.
Interesting, a young autograph collector.
Yeah, I started off as a real baseball fan. My father was a real baseball fan. He was born in 1902. My father, and so he saw all the great early ball players, and he he passed them all down to me. I mean, I could just recite.
I can tell.
A lot more than me.
Guys like Three Finger Mordecai Brown, Walter Johnson, the Big Train, Ty Cobb, the Georgia Peach, Robert Moranville, Jimmy Fox, Babe Ruth, Lou Gehrig. All these names were like childhood names to me, and so when it came time to go off on my own as a baseball fan, 1956 I think was the year I first met Ted in the back of the hotel where he stayed. And
you were waiting for him?
I was waiting for him. I found out where he stayed. I told nobody else. We all used to go to another hotel and wait for the other ball players who came in, to play the Red Sox. Like the Yankees came in, all the teams stayed at the Hotel Kenmore, which is right in Kenmore Square. It's now something. I think it's a college right now. But I found out that he stayed at the Somerset, which was a huge block down the street. So I went there. I didn't tell anybody, and I just went in the back of the hotel, waited for him with my autograph book, and out he came, and he said nothing. I said, Ted, can I please have your autograph? He just took the ball. He took the book and signed it like down here. Signed the book. Beautiful signature.
Is that your?
You can see the signature right
Okay,
there.
we have a picture, guys.
He had a great signature. One of the best among autograph collecting. There it is. It's a very distinctive signature. Very well received by fans. Still in great demand on baseballs, autograph books, index cards, photos. So once I got him, I had to get him again on a baseball, on a photo, and after about the third or fourth time, within about, maybe a month or two, he came out at one time and he shook his head and he said, if I can say it on live TV.
You're repeating what he said.
Repeating what he
Okay.
said. All right,
Okay.
now this is what Ted said.
That's what Ted said.
All right, and he's known for this kind of salty language. He said, he kind of pointed at me in mock disgust. And he said, "This is the 100th goddamn time. When is this going to stop?" And I said, "This is the last time." And then I said, "This year."
Oh my goodness.
I'm not sure he heard that, but he signed. After that, I would see him again at the ballpark. He would come into the parking lot. He would park his car, and I'd be there with something else for him to sign. And he would point to the security guard at the gate, and he'd say, "You see this kid? He's here every day." But he signed every single time. And then I eventually became a sports writer. I went to Northeastern University and studied journalism, and I became a sports writer. And there were a lot of times when I covered the Red Sox. And by the time I took a lot of the pictures.
So do you want me to go through some of the pictures?
As a sports writer, I always carried my camera with me, and I took a lot of photos of him in various stages. There's one there, 1982 Old Timers game. That's one of the Old Timers games in the 1980s. The next one of him batting is also from I think 1982. The next one is the famous number 9. That's retired, of course.
Oh, sorry. That one, okay.
There he is at one of the Old Timers games. Yep, there he is, the number 9. Yeah.
And when did they retire that number?
Was it 1984, I believe?
Okay.
They had a ceremony up on the wall. They put his number up on the right field pavilion, hanging down with. There it is, right there, the Jimmy Fund.
The Jimmy Fund.
If you go to the Jimmy Fund,
Okay, let's go. Okay.
they retired Ted's number 9.
We don't
cut off
see
a
it.
little bit.
Oh, so it's to the far left.
Far left
9,
would be
4, 1.
4 was Joe Cronin. Number 1 was Bobby Dorr. Number 8 was Kyle Yastrzemski. So those numbers were all retired. Now there are a lot more up there. But
We go back to this picture.
with Jim Longboard.
Would be one of our
He'll
guests.
be one of the
Yep,
guests
he'll
to be
at the
coming.
event.
As I was saying earlier, he lives in Situate and is a retired dentist.
Oh, okay.
He's the one
Look at that smile.
on the right.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
He'd be
Jim.
coming, yeah.
They
He
call
has
him
the same
Gentleman
smile.
Jim.
Yeah.
Do you know if he wanted to be a dentist before he got into baseball?
Yeah,
or-
he was studying pre-med
Oh.
at Stanford
Okay.
before he became a pitcher.
Okay.
Yeah. And he after he retired in 1979, he went back to med school. I think he went to Tufts.
Tufts, yeah, Tufts right
He went to
down here.
Tufts. Became a
Yeah,
dentist.
Tufts Dental.
And he spent
Back to med school.
Yeah.
spent his whole time in either Norwell. I think it had an office in Norwell.
Okay.
And he just retired a couple of years ago. But
Can we go next one?
let's see. Yeah, that one there is a picture of Ted in the middle with, on the left, Jackie Jensen, a former right fielder, big slugging right fielder who was afraid to fly. He didn't want to fly. He would, on as many road trips as he could, he would take a train. And he would leave the rest of the team and take a train. He did not like to fly. And on the left, on the right, is Bobby Dorr. And he was, what was it, 98 or 99? I think he was 99 when he passed away, just a couple of years ago.
Oh.
Wow.
Oh, he was in a wheelchair?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, he was number 1. He wore
Okay.
number 1. And he was a long time teammate of Ted's. He was from Oregon, and when he retired, he became a guide on the Rogue River. He would take people on what do they call it? Whitewater rafting. Yeah, that's what Bobby Doerr did for a long time. And so he was a long time friend of Ted. In fact, the book, not mine, but one by David Halberstam called The Teammates, was Bobby Doerr, Ted Williams, Dom DiMaggio, and Johnny Pesky. They were longtime friends. And David Halberstam, the great writer, immortalized them in that book. Now they're all gone. Even David Halberstam, he died in a car accident. But he left a great legacy. And I think we have a picture of Ted with his fishing prowess as well.
Don't know if that's the hat.
Yeah, whenever
Yes.
Ted,
Right
that
there,
one right
yes.
there. Yeah, Ted was a great fisherman, and he would tie his own flies. He made his own lures.
Well, he's been fishing since how long?
Oh,
So he was probably doing it when you were making your own, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Right.
No, he was.
Right.
Yeah,
Just like
yeah.
we make food from scratch. You don't get that nowadays,
That's
right?
right.
Right?
That's right.
Yeah, yeah. He loved to fish. His kids really knew him first as a fisherman. By the time the two of them were born, he was married 3 times. Married 3 times and divorced 3 times. As he said, he was a great hitter. He could hit a fastball, but he couldn't hold on to a wife.
And I'll tell you a little story. When he was a fisherman and baseball player, he worked for Sears Roebuck.
Yes, he did.
And he used to walk down the street from Fenway Park with the old Sears building. My dad worked for Sears, and that's how I got involved with the camp.
Oh.
Because my dad was a manager in the package pickup at Sears, and when he came down to Sears, he walked down the street from Fenway to Sears on Brookline Avenue, and he'd go up. My father would see him go up to the 2nd floor. Ted had an office up there, and then one day he noticed them and he asked him, "You have a camp, I heard," and he goes, "Yes." All the information, was in the media and the paper. And that's how I got involved with the camp. To go to the Ted Williams camp. From my father.
That's it. From your father. And that's that thing that we as parents nowadays need to advocate for is our kids,
Right.
and open the doors for them.
Exactly.
But what I don't want to happen, I don't want us to run out of time and without
Auction items we got to get to.
so here we go. I don't want to run out of time without them sharing the sponsors of the event and also talking about some of the prizes that are going to be auctioned off. So we're going to spend a few minutes talking about the various items, and if you want to be involved or you want to be an owner, please check us out. Please contact them. Information will be available, or you can check out the Somerville line. But please support the Jimmy Fund. Please support this program, the summer camp. So let's go to some of our first items. You want me to just go through them?
Sure.
Okay.
I mean, these are just like a handful out of the many that we have. So we have a few hotel stays. So North Conway, you can go to Storyland, and ski lift tickets at Cranmore, all right in the same area.
So how does this work? Do people is there a set price that it starts at? Or is everyone...
Some of the items are.
Okay.
Yeah, some of the items have set prices.
Okay, so some of the items have set prices, and then
Or minimum bids, I guess you would call it.
Okay,
Yeah.
so minimum bid. So does a person have to be there in order to bid?
Yeah.
Or-
This is a live auction.
Okay,
live
live
auction.
auction, nothing online.
Right.
You got to be there.
Right.
Okay, so let's go on to some of the other items. Here we go.
Yep.
Okay.
We have another hotel stay in Newport, 3 nights, right in the heart of downtown Newport, with food credit. We have a signed baseball by Justin Wilson, who plays for the Chicago Cubs.
He's a starting pitcher for the Cubs, yes. And this is
Now it's a little
lineup
hard to
cards.
see. Yep.
The lineup cards of the Red Sox and Royals, I believe 1997, and it was donated by Kevin Kunkel, who was an alumni of the camp. His dad was actually Bill Kunkel, who was a major league umpire, and he also played for the New York Yankees. After his career with the Yankees, he became an American League umpire. Kevin, when he played for Texas, his dad gave him his lineup card, you know, and he said, "I want you to have this, son." And he passed it on to him. And then Kevin, I got a hold of in Texas, and he says, "I want to give you something." And
He wanted to
gave me
give
this,
back.
and he wanted to give back, you know, to the Jimmy
Yeah,
Fund
this has
and the camp.
big sentimental value to
You
him.
know, and there's
but-
some great
yeah.
names on those lineup cards. Kaya Skremski, Jim Rice, Dwight
Yeah.
Evans, and on the Royals, George Brett, and I can't see.
What year is that from?
1997.
1997.
August 21st, 1997.
Yeah.
game.
And there's a lineup
Rice,
card for every
Skremski,
game.
Fisk.
Every
Yeah.
game there's a lineup card, and the umpire, the manager of each team signs his own card.
Right.
Is it electronic nowadays?
No, they still sign
No,
it.
Oh.
they still do that in the dugout, and it's posted right up in the dugout.
Oh.
You know,
okay.
even in high school, college, you know, baseball, it's done too.
Wow.
They write the lineup
Yeah.
cards, the coach and manager.
I guess we can
Puts
say
it up.
there some things don't change, but that's interesting. Everything is done written.
Right.
Okay.
Right.
Yep.
So here we go with some more pictures, some more items that are being auctioned. Actually.
But Riley Nash.
Oh, yep.
Okay, we'll go back.
Oh,
to that
yep.
one.
So, yep, we have a 2-night, 3-day stay in Washington, D.C., right in DuPont Circle. It's like less than a mile from the White House, with food as well. Yeah, we have a signed puck by Riley Nash, who's a current player of the Boston Bruins. I have a Peyton Manning autographed football with its certificate of authenticity, of course.
Right.
So we're crossing over between sports.
Right.
Yep,
Football,
we have-
hockey, baseball.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I mean, not
All
all the
go on a
items
good
have
cause.
to do with baseball.
Yeah.
They're kind of varies, but
'Cause-
we have to appeal to everybody as well.
Right.
So.
But don't you think the individuals that are donating these items, they want to give it, right?
Yes.
Yes.
So they're probably happy and honored that you're even accepting their gift. That's not baseball, right?
Right.
Okay.
Yeah, another downtown Newport hotel.
Had a great
think we have
chance
that
to
one.
see the mansions of Newport.
Oh yes,
Mm.
definitely.
Oh.
Yeah, we have a couple. This is just one of the golf packages that were donated. Foursome of Golf with $75 food credit.
Whoa.
I think we have
Cape
a,
Club, yeah.
yeah.
That's a good
Cape
one.
Club of
Foursome
Falmouth.
of golf with food?
We also have
Yeah.
another one. I don't know if the picture's up there, but the Highlands Golf Course in North Truro was donated by James Ronda, who's
Right,
also an alumni of the camp. Yeah, also a foursome of golf.
Right.
This is King's Bowling. If you have any kids, you can have a nice bowling party for 6. Includes all rentals, food, and drinks.
So we have the Newport.
Oh, here's the Newport Hotel stay with winery tour and
Winery
tastings. Yeah, and we have other items.
Brewery
tours.
tours.
Yeah,
Restaurant gift cards.
restaurant gift cards. We have Treetop Adventures, which is like a zip lining park. We have the North End Boston Food Tour, who donated.
We got a
have, like,
Pedroia.
spa.
Dustin Pedroia.
Dustin
and
Pedroia
David
and David
Ortiz.
Ortiz authentic
Authentic
jerseys.
jerseys, game jerseys. We have.
Yep.
That will be auctioned off.
So is there a place on the internet where people can see the list?
Well, we have our Facebook group. That we
Okay.
can post the link to.
Yeah.
Okay.
That we post these to.
Go
Yeah.
on Ted Williams Camp Alumni on
Okay.
Facebook,
Yeah.
and you can see all those and all the people that will be attending. The list we have.
Okay, everyone. I know you see my back. Do you see
Oh.
me? Ted Williams. Facebook page name again. Ted Williams.
Ted Williams.
Camp Alumni and Friends Reunion.
Reunion for the Jimmy Fund, to benefit the Jimmy Fund.
You can also go on Eventbrite, and it will take you to all the pages that we have, Eventbrite, to
Yeah,
get
on
the
Event.
tickets.
Find them on Facebook, because if you find them on Facebook, then you'll be able to stay abreast of everything that's going on.
Right,
Okay?
and you can purchase your tickets through Eventbrite.
Purchase your tickets. You can find out about next year,
Right.
on what they're doing on their off year, and then you'll be ready for 2020.
Right.
2020, right?
Crazy.
Yeah. And Eventbrite is EVENTBRITE.
.com. Yeah.
.com.
Yes.
You
Yes.
just go on it and go on July 21st, Saturday, July 21st, 2018, and purchase your tickets.
And the camp is in Lakeville, Massachusetts.
Right, where the event will be held at the Ted Williams Camp.
The tickets, is that that's actually a donation,
As
right?
is a
Right.
donation
It's actually a
to
donation.
the Jimmy Fund.
Right.
All
Right.
donation, yep.
All donations.
Yep.
And you know what? You don't even have to be there to give a donation.
Right.
Right.
You can go online, you can find them to give them a donation.
We have a team page on the Jimmy Fund website, actually, that we
Yes.
are collecting any donations from anyone that can't make it, or
Wants to support anybody
Wants to
that
support,
wants
yeah.
to support. Wants to give back.
yeah.
Right.
Just wants to
Exactly.
give back.
Yeah. We want to strike out cancer.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, don't
Strike
we?
out.
I mean, it just comes in so many
Yes.
ways. I was just talking to a young person today, and they were telling me that now they're 30, and they had just gone to a funeral of their friend who had died, and cancer had come back twice. They had it, came back twice,
Yeah.
and it's just such
Yeah.
I mean, 30, but we still hear about these even kids younger
Right.
than that, right?
Oh.
Exactly.
That are
Yeah.
dealing with this. And
Right.
Yeah.
okay,
It's
yes.
sad.
So we have a few minutes. Do we want to go back and finish up our pictures, or
How about the
And
Let's do
sponsors?
some-
sponsors, yeah.
yes.
Let's give
Okay.
a nice shout out
here we
to
go?
them.
I'm going to put. I love this picture, so we'll put this picture up, and then we can go ahead and start doing our shout outs. And there we go. That's your.
We had a lot of very generous donors, and I want to thank them so very much for their support and helping to put on this event.
So MRC.
Yeah, MRC Transportation of Bridgewater, Mass. They're a family-owned luxury transportation company for the South Shore. Airport rides, nights on the town, special events like weddings, everything. So,
And we
thank you.
have Bay State.
Bay State Sewage Disposal, thank you so much. They made a very generous donation. And they're in Lakeville, Mass. as well. There's septic pumping, Title V inspections, septic repair. Yeah. Elizabeth Ann's Studio, thank you so much for making our beautiful flyer. She's also located in Lakeville, and if you need graphic and website design or photography, she's your go-to girl. Arcadia Publishing, who published Dick Trust's book,
Yep.
they donated his books to be signed at the event. Mhm.
We thank them.
Yes.
I'll be signing that book.
Mhm. And
Our Bridgewater Savings.
Bridgewater Savings Bank, thank you very much. They also made a very generous donation. Heritage Flowers will be donating centerpieces for our event to make it look all very pretty. And Sports World USA, they'll be bringing in many items for sports memorabilia items, signed and unsigned, for the auction. And White's Auctions will be leading the auction, John White, auctioneer. And thank you to Piesco Sporting Goods from Easton. They donated baseballs for the players to sign. And South Coast Entertainment, Mass, will be donating a photo booth, so maybe we can get our pictures taken with the players, or leave the event with a memory.
So is that your last sponsor? I'm sure you have many more, because there's no way.
I know, yeah.
And anybody else that you want to shout out before?
Just all our donors. There's so many to count. Yeah. And Dick's Sporting Goods has also donated.
It's not related to me.
No. No.
And people just seem like they just come out.
Yeah, and we've had some auction items also that we've put on online that people have already won. Yeah, and contributed, as their winning bid was a donation to the Jimmy Fund. And
yeah, we've raised over what, $1,000, a little over $1,000.
Over $1,000. Yep.
Yeah, we raised thus far.
Yeah. And the event day is July 21st.
That's a Saturday.
Saturday.
Yeah.
Ted Williams Camp,
Lakeville,
located
Mass.
in Lakeville, Mass. Can people get there by public transportation?
They could. They
Okay.
could.
Yes, that's a
Okay.
Take commuter rail,
Yep.
from Boston, down to the South Shore.
Yep.
There you go.
Yeah.
I love it up here. Texas, I didn't have a train
Yeah.
to take,
Yeah.
and I love it up here.
Right.
Okay, so we got our shout outs. We have a couple more minutes. I mean, I want you to give the name of the book.
Okay.
Show it to our audience again.
It's called Ted Williams and Friends, 1960 to 2002, and it contains 160 photos. I took more than one half of them, and a lot of them are actually generously donated by the Jimmy Fund itself, the Dana-Farber Cancer Institute. There are a lot of photos, especially the ones of Jimmy, Ina Gustafson, and there were quite a few in there of Tom Yawkey and Dr. Sidney Farber, and all the people who made Dana-Farber Cancer Institute and the Jimmy Fund such a great source of charity for the young kids afflicted with cancer. I was pleased to make the acquaintance of one of the fellows in the Jimmy Fund. He supplied a lot of photos. Without him, the book would not have been possible. And I think, I don't know if we have time to tell one more story about Ted. Maybe we'll hold it.
Well, there was also, I want to say, in the book too, that Dick alluded to say, is that there's a lot of alumni that will be at the event that are in his book, including myself.
Are you all going to have story time at your event?
We hope to, yes.
I'll tell my final story there. Right? You have to go to Lakeville to hear my story.
We just hope to see you that day, and go on our page on Facebook, Ted Williams Camp Alumni, and to Eventbrite and purchase your tickets for $30. It includes a luncheon, and you get a chance to bid on all these wonderful items and more.
And meet some amazing
and meet
players.
some Major League ball players.
Okay, guys, well, we have run out of time, but I want to thank you. We have the flyer up right now as we close out the show, and thank you for doing what you do, and thank you for giving back to the community.
Thank you.
Thank you for having us.
That.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah.
Okay. Summer.
I'll tell you that story that I was going to tell.